Hey guys, in this story, I'm going to share with you my story of how I managed to lose about 15 kilograms in 3 months. Actually, most of the weight dropped off in the first 2 months, and then I've taken my time to slowly reach my goal in the following month. So right now I have achieved my weight goal. It was hard in the beginning, but it got drastically easier very, very quickly. So if you're somebody who has a weight problem and you are struggling to lose weight, then maybe if you listen to my story, that might help you in the long run. So to start with, I am not an expert in health. I am not an expert in fitness. I am an absolutely ordinary and normal person, just like you who's watching this at the moment. And all I did was make a few changes in my lifestyle and I saw the results. So I'm just going to start from the beginning as to why and how I went about it. Okay, so sometime in around July, I woke up in the morning and I had a cramp on the back of my leg. Now, that's not unusual for someone my age, but it was a different type of cramp in that it kind of stopped me in my tracks and made me reconsider. I was the heaviest I had ever been that morning. I weighed myself and I was just like, wow, how did I get this big? Now, I am 6'2.5", almost 6'3", so I can pile on quite an amount of weight without it being too obvious that I'm packing on weight. And that's what had happened. But even then, I started getting comments from my friends, from my family, saying, hey, man, you've put on some weight, haven't you? And random people would call me, hey, big guy, which, again, wasn't too extraordinary because I am relatively large. I'm 6'2.5", 6'3", roughly. And I'm a big guy. So I do get that. But it was a little bit more frequent than, you know what I mean? But those things were absolutely okay with me. I wasn't that concerned. But what was concerning, though, was the effect that it had on my mobility and ability to get around as quickly as I wanted to. Now, I'm someone that loves to walk a lot, right? I like to get around on foot. And it became a little bit more difficult than it normally would when I once decided to walk a little bit longer than I would do on a normal day. And when I got back, I just felt like something had hit me, right? My limbs were hurting, my joints, especially my knees and ankles, were kind of inflamed, is the way I can describe it. They were sort of like seizing, like I couldn't, move my knees and ankles as flexibly as I should be able to. They felt like they were frozen somewhat, and it felt like inflammation. And also my thighs and my calves were sort of pulsating and seizing, as if to say, we've had enough of this. So I said to myself, maybe something needs to be done about this, right? I also felt really tired and lethargic, like all day. And I was hungry all the time and I carried on eating. And I mean, the cause of, the weight gain, of course, is a sedentary lifestyle. I work in front of a computer pretty much all day, so I've been doing that. I also didn't get out as much because of, working in front of a computer, so I got less exercise. Also, I made some not so great choices with the food. Actually, I didn't eat that badly. I was eating healthy meals. The actual breakfast, lunch, dinner was usually quite healthy, normal food, natural food. But it was what was happening in between the meals that was the problem, right? I would snack on the most ridiculous high carb stuff. I had lots of shortbreads, cakes, biscuits, chocolates. I ate lots of sugar stuff. It was also quite a stressful time with work, with things going on in personal life. So a lot of people like me would eat when they're stressed. It's sometimes subconscious. It's just you reach out for some food and just eat when you're a little bit stressed or whatever. So I also wasn't getting enough water. I wasn't drinking much. I was just drinking coffee all the time. The thing though is, at least I wasn't putting sugar in my coffee. I take my coffee black, so I didn't get the effect of putting sugar and milk. I wasn't drinking cappuccinos or lattes like other people do. Anyhow, so the changes that I made in my lifestyle that led to effectively what was a drastic weight loss were very simple. And one of the reasons why I made those changes was also health reasons, right? Now, I started to feel a little bit lethargic and tired. And those are two of the symptoms that someone who's pre-diabetic would feel, right? They'd feel tired a lot and lethargic. And because in my family, we have quite a fair bit of diabetes in the family, my grandparent, parent, uncles, aunts, there's a lot of diabetes in the family. So I am a candidate basically for pre-diabetes and diabetes if I'm not careful. So that is always in the back of my head. It's something I don't want to get, right? Who wants a chronic disease, especially one that is avoidable, such as type 2 diabetes, not type 1, type 2 diabetes, right? Which is linked with obesity and sedentary lifestyle and consumption of processed foods and high sugars. So I decided I don't want diabetes, and I'm tired of not being able to run and walk everywhere I want to go without the threat of injuring myself and getting tired and feeling like, crap basically all day. So I decided to reach for things that have worked in the past, right? One of the things that's worked for me in the past is, low carb diet, right? Now, I'm not going to mention the name because I heard that YouTube is now shadow banning people that say the K word, but you know the one I'm referring to, the K diet. So I kicked that off. Now, in the past, when I've done it and it's worked for me, the first 3 days have been absolute hell, right? So, because your body runs out of energy, right? Because it's used to carbohydrates being the supply of energy, and it takes a couple of days, 3-4 days sometimes, for your body to switch over from its energy source and then start producing energy from an alternative source. And that time period, your body craves it like nothing ever before. But what helped me this time, because I'm quite experienced, right, with this diet, was I didn't cold turkey go into the diet. I fasted for the first day. So on the first day, I just didn't eat anything till dinner time. I drank a couple of pints of lemon water in the morning to help just fill my stomach and hydrate me. I had a cup of coffee, and that was it. I basically just had sips of water till dinner time, at which point I had dinner. And when I had dinner, I had a low carb sort of protein and fat meal with green vegetables. And I tell you, it was a lot easier this time than it used to be in the past, because my body didn't start craving carbs in the morning, because I'd already slept for 8 hours, woken up, my body was already in a fasted state. So just carrying on with that fast, of course you have to overcome the psychological barrier of having to have breakfast in the morning, which I think is a psychological expectation of your brain. Your body is sort of like conditioned to do that in the morning because we've done it for so long. But it's not really necessary. I know a lot of people would say to you that not to skip breakfast, most important meal of the day, etc., yada yada. But that's if you're a normal weight and you're not trying to achieve weight loss like I was. So fasted the first day and then embarked on this low carb diet. Actually, the fast was so effective that I carried on fasting for the rest of the week. So for the first week, I didn't have breakfast. I didn't have lunch. I just had a nice, healthy dinner, okay? And it just got easier and easier to do. In fact, after the first week, I had to remind myself to eat in the morning and in the afternoon, right? And then, because it was so successful, I started fasting on the first day of every week for the rest of the month, right? So I fasted for the first week. Which involved not having breakfast and lunch. And then on the first day of every week for the rest of August, right? Sorry, for the rest of July. So in terms of exercise, I decided to get out and walk because that's what I love to do. So a lot of the things that I had to sit down and do in front of my computer is actually watch videos, listen to audio, and read, right? Now, a lot of those I transported into my phone, into audio format, and listened instead as I walked. So there are things that I did in front of my machine that I didn't actually have to be in front of my machine for. For those things, I did while I walked. So I got an average of an hour to an hour and a half's walk every single day for the entire month, right? In fact, I've been doing it till this very day. Now, for that first month, I must have lost nearly 7 kilograms. Just the weight just dropped right off. Now, of course, when you start to change your diet and lifestyle, the first few days you experience a rapid weight loss because you lose fluid, you lose, just the excess stuff. Also, there's less food in your gut and your intestine and stuff like that. So you automatically weigh less and the weight loss seems more drastic than it actually is. I was careful to stay hydrated so I don't lose fluid, because that's one thing that a lot of people do. They lose water and they think they've lost weight, and the minute they start eating again, they get hydrated again and the weight goes back up, right? Also, my workout, which is pretty much just walking, was so low impact that it was kind to my joints, it was kind to my muscles. I wasn't losing muscle mass at the same time. After a week or two, I started doing push-ups and some calisthenic exercises, very basic sit-ups, push-ups, those sort of things, just so I can maintain a little bit of muscle mass while this was going on. It's just to tell my body that I still need my muscles, especially my upper body muscles, because of course my legs were getting all the resistance exercise from the walking, even though it's not that sort of intense, but it's still something happening there. So your body knows not to eat away at the muscles of your legs, but if you're not doing anything with your upper body, that might be prioritized by your body's equilibrium system, and might start because the body is I find the body is a use it or lose it proposition. So if you don't use a certain muscle group and there's a demand for resources, that muscle group suffers. So I started doing, I've got this cable thing, this band, where I started doing a few resistance exercises like pull-ups, push-ups, with this like a resistance band thing. So just to keep some of the muscles, active. So in the first month, I lost about 7 kilograms straight up, and that brought me from 113 kilograms to 106 kilograms, right? If my math works. Now, there's a huge difference between being 113 kilograms and 106 kilograms. You still look big, obviously, because you still have like fat stuff around your belly and stuff like that. But in terms of how you feel as a person and how more easily to move, it's a big difference, especially when going up and down stairs, climbing hills and stuff. As such, I started doing more difficult, more challenging walks. I was walking faster, walking uphill. There are a lot of punishing hills around where I live. I started going up those really briskly, and that upped the intensity of my exercise and had an even more effective result on my body weight. The second month, which is the month of August, I carried on basically doing the same thing. The walks got slightly longer. The food got even better. So like I wasn't fasting, but I was eating absolutely clean. I was basically eating meats, fish with green vegetables like broccoli. I was eating a lot of spinach. I love broccoli. I love spinach. I was putting a lot of spices in them, a lot of chili, because I love spice. So some people can't handle that, but spices help raise your metabolism apparently. So that must have helped for me. So in the month of August, I kept doing the same thing. It got really easy in August because after a month of doing it, it was just second nature. Like I said before, I had to keep reminding myself to eat. So in August, I dropped another 5 kilograms. So that's 12 kilograms in 2 months, right? So I was about 101 kilograms by the end of August, which was approaching my ideal weight. Now, In terms of BMI, my ideal weight is actually apparently 89 kilograms, which for me is absolutely ridiculous, because if I was really 89 kilograms, I'll be a pack of bones, right? But I've got muscle on me. I've got quite strong thighs from all the jumping that I did in my teenage years. I used to play basketball. I used to long jump, triple jump. So I developed some really strong quads, which are very, very heavy. Also, my bones are quite dense. So the BMI thing, I don't think applies to me. I think my ideal weight is something around 95 kilograms. So my ideal weight is 6 kilograms or 5 to 6 kilograms more than the BMI would suggest, in my opinion anyway. I am not at 95 kilograms yet. At the moment, I am actually at 98 kilograms. So I'm 3 kilograms away from the perfect body weight when I should start to see abs and all that sort of stuff. But right now, I've still got that nice thin layer of fat that just about covers the muscles and doesn't show my definition yet. But in terms of health, I am in a really, really good place. So my blood work came back. It looks absolutely stunning. I'm slightly deficient in vitamin D, apparently, which I'm rectifying. I'm starting to take supplements again. I assume my vitamin D was great in summer, but now that we're moving into autumn and the light is reduced, the sunshine is reduced, especially with dark skin, we have to supplement with vitamin D. Right now, I think I look okay. I feel amazing. When I walk now, I walk really fast. Like now in the London Underground, I run up the stairs like really fast. I feel nothing. I feel light and strong again. I mean, my day-to-day is completely changed. My clothes that I wear are completely different. I look at some of those clothes I was wearing just 2 months ago, and I think, how was I wearing this? How did I allow myself to get this big? I went for a wedding last week, and I was able to wear a tuxedo that I've had for about 12 years and I haven't worn in the last 3 years. Just I couldn't fit into the tuxedo, but I was able to fit into. In fact, it's a little bit large for me now. So I probably need to go shopping at some point to get some clothes that fit me better. Bottom line is, I didn't take any medication. I didn't do anything fancy at all. All I did was just change my lifestyle from one to the other, reducing the amount of food I was eating, changing the type of food I was eating, drinking more water, getting more sleep. I haven't mentioned that actually. I was getting more sleep because if you don't get enough sleep, your hormones are whacked and they don't do what they're supposed to do. I'll do a separate video on that. But again, remember, I'm not an expert in health things. I can only tell you my experience. And of course, I started walking. And I find that walking is amazing. I think it's the most underrated exercise ever. Walking is so good for you. It's low impact. So if you're big, it's something that you can do. It's easy to do and enjoyable, unless you're obviously having mobility issues or you have arthritis. But even with arthritis, walking is gentler than running, for instance, right? If you try and run with arthritis, it's pretty much impossible. The impact on your joints are completely different. And you can have something in your ear, you can listen, you can, if you have to transport yourself instead of driving or taking a taxi, if it's a walking distance, even if it takes you 45 minutes or an hour to get there, if you have the time, it's something worth doing. If you live in a city like London and you take the London Underground, you can get off one stop before you're home and walk instead, just to get that half an hour, 1 hour in. Now, another thing to remember is not everyone's result is going to be as fast as mine. I have a pretty strong willpower. So if I decide I want to do something, I just do it. And once I get going, I get a momentum to it, and it's something I'm gifted with, right? I have good willpower. Not everybody has that. People would, other people might look at food and, not be able to resist a cake or a chocolate or something like that. For me, I have no problems with that. 1 minute I'm eating it every day. The next minute I've decided I don't want to eat it anymore. And that's that, right? So each person's result is going to be different. But I can tell you that if you just change now and start taking steps towards your goal, then your goal will arrive. Another thing that slows people down or discourages people is they can't fathom how long it's going to take to get to that goal. Now, me personally, it's been 3 months now since I changed my lifestyle, and I'm so close to my goal. I'm a lot closer to it than I was to even last week, in terms of muscle definition. I've started to do calisthenics exercises because my goals have shifted, right? I've shifted from wanting to completely just drastically lose the weight to now I want mobility, strength, flexibility, right? Those are the things that I'm more concerned with. Good health, good joints, good mobility, good flexibility. Because as I move into the next decade of my life, these things are going to be very, very important. I want to maintain a good posture. I want to avoid injury. So that's it. I hope it's been encouraging to you. If you are obese, borderline obese, or you just want to lose some weight, just make those changes and take it one step at a time. Don't think, oh, it's going to take 5 months or it's going to take 6 months. Just think this is going to take today, okay? And just take it one day at a time, one day at a time. And like a dripping tap, it just piles up and piles up and piles up. And before you know it, you're going to start to see abs. You're going to start to see definition, just like I'm starting to see now. Now, if say 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I decided, oh man, this is going to take too long, and I didn't start, then I wouldn't be where I am now. So the best time to start was 2 months ago. If you haven't started, the best time to start is today. So 2 months from now, you could also get in front of the camera and make such a video. If this has been helpful to you, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be making more and more videos on this channel talking about my journey. I'm going to be sharing with you the kind of food that I've been eating. I'm going to be sharing with you maybe even what I've been listening to while I'm walking. I've learned a lot of things that I didn't know before from just listening to audiobooks and podcasts as well. I'm going to be sharing with you things about fasting. I've learned a lot now about intermittent fasting. I've learned a lot now about calisthenics, for instance. So I'm going to be sharing all that sort of information. I'm also going to be sharing things that relate to people, men my age, I guess, and I suppose women can listen too. So give me a like, give me a subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.